Welcome to the Filthy Truth Exposed. I'm Filthy Phil, and you're?
Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, it's going to be a great episode. We're going more with the Dr. Phil and the pronouns debate. And this time we're going to be talking about children and whether or not, they should be influenced or not influenced. So this should be good. What do you think?
Yeah, this is from the Matt Walsh and Dr. Phil episode. Let's take a look.
Yeah, let's check it out.
A Loudoun County Public Schools teacher is suing the district. Tanner Cross is on administrative leave. He said he would not call a student who's transgender by their preferred pronouns.
And I will not affirm that a biological boy can be a girl and vice versa, because it's against my religion, it's lying to a child, it's abuse to a child.
Cross was placed.
I don't buy the against his religion, man. That's could that really be true? How would that be? Like against his religion? I don't know. It seems odd, you know what I mean? I guess it could be, but like, I just think he thinks it's immoral. I think that's all. I think that's what it is, you know.
Well, if that's the case, then that's what could be against somebody's religion.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, it's all good. It makes him feel weird, so he doesn't want to, So, it's all good.
Leave. Now he's suing the district.
Yeah.
Well, you just saw a news clip about a teacher in Virginia who was suspended after opposing the school's gender policy. Now, inclusion in schools is a major topic of conversation because parents and administrators, well, they just don't always see eye to eye. My next guests are two concerned parents with kids the same age. Now, they used to be in the same school district until one mom pulled her children out. So while they didn't know each other before, they have unified for the same cause.
I'm really concerned about what's going on in schoolrooms across the country.
The entire gender pronoun situation makes me feel very upset.
People may think that if you don't want to use the preferred pronouns, that you're against gay people. This is 100%
I like the music in there. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. It's like Jaws. Boom. They're coming to get you, man. The trans people are out there. They're coming to get you.
Yeah, it's dramatic. I feel like the producers of this segment, they're trying to make these two parents look a little bit irrational. I feel like the editing and the direction here.
That's crazy. See, I don't think it's that they're trying to make him seem irrational. I think it's what they're trying to do is like just trying to give it some more excitement, like what they're saying isn't that exciting, but then if you just put that music in there, you're like suddenly like, oh, this is an important thing, I think it's more like that. I don't know if it's
more drama.
Yeah, just more drama. But I don't think that they're doing. Yeah, I see what you're saying. These guys seem okay,
untrue. I am a huge advocate for gay people, trans people, and the like.
Stacy and I both have children in the same school district.
I learned that the teachers in my children's school were asking for the kids' preferred pronouns in the classroom. When I heard about this, it was extremely upsetting.
Last year, my son was given a homework assignment. I gave an example of a child not identifying with the gender that they're born with. Is an example of a homework that was given to my 8-year-old son. If a student is unsure of their place in the gender spectrum or is experimenting with different forms of gender presentation, school uniforms can present a real challenge.
Oh my gosh. What is gender spectrum?
Yeah, what is that?
That's a great question. My son was really confused. I feel like I'm ambushed because now I'm explaining to my son. He asked me, what does sexist mean? As a parent, I felt trapped. I felt I had to explain these concepts to my son.
So what do you think of these guys so far? What do you think of what they're saying?
Well, she said, what is a gender spectrum? And that's making me think, there is no gender spectrum. Do you think there's a gender spectrum?
A gender spectrum?
I mean, there's male and there's female. Is there something in between that?
I guess the question is there a difference between sex and gender? I guess is what. So I guess I think maybe it's that the other perspective is that gender is like how you express yourself, and sex is whether you're male or female. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, they're going to get into that.
Yeah, they get into that later. But
I think the gender spectrum question, I think, is separate from sex. It's saying gender spectrum is saying that it's not a binary. The genders aren't binary. It's not male and female. There's a whole spectrum of slightly male, slightly female, slightly feline, slightly furry, slightly whatever.
Exactly. But okay, so here's something that I don't understand, right? Is like with the dad and the mom here. Like if you grow up in a more conservative household or whatever belief systems you have, like why don't you just tell your kids, just be like, these dudes be crazy, you know, like there's just a man, there's just a woman. You could raise your kid any way you want, and then you can you can just explain to them like this shit's bullshit, and then basically you give them the values that you want to give them, right? And then that's basically it. So then, because here's the problem I see is that if you're not secure with the way you feel, I mean you're teaching your kids something. You got to understand when you go to school, they're going to get different perspectives. You can't expect this perspectives exactly as the way you think it should be. You know what I mean?
Yes, but they're teaching this stuff in school like it's fact. So then you're
I see what you're saying.
Then the parents are telling their kids to go against what is supposedly fact, and I mean that's just...
And it does confuse them. I see I actually kind of feel for them in a way. I understand where they're coming from in a sense. You know what I mean? Because
so do you think there's a gender spectrum? Do you think there's male and female, masculine, feminine, and then there's something in between that? You personally?
Oh, personally.
Yeah.
Man, that's a tough one. No, I mean, I just think it's... that's a confusing... I don't know how to answer that question, man. I guess what I feel like is... I think we've talked about this before, but I just think there's some people that are like, they don't appear masculine or they don't appear feminine. And then society treats them that way, you know? And so they either have to embrace who they are and then, you know what I mean? Or they kind of change it a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense. Forget about the trans part of it. We're just talking about general things that men and women have to deal with. And it's more of a... It's more, I think, with guys. Because it's weird, like I explained this before. With women and girls... They can just act like guys, and it's okay. You know what I mean? But it doesn't go the other way around.
Yeah. Well, I think it does go the other way around. I think that's really what we're dealing with here. Is I think it does. I think a man can be sort of typically feminine.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think that's crossing or being part of the gender spectrum. I think that's still a man. That's still just because they're being typically feminine. It's still a man and they can act however they want. It's not, but to me that doesn't mean you're moving around in the spectrum. You're still a man. You're just a different man. All men are different. There's a personality spectrum.
Yeah, but that's the gender spectrum they're talking about. You know, so when you say what you said is correct. I get what you're saying. It's still a man, right? So you're right. It's still a man. But then the issue is that even though it's a man, the way that they're expressing themselves, that's the gender spectrum. So they're expressing themselves as a woman, even though they're a man. That's all.
Okay, but then the problem with that I see is that then somebody is defining what is a woman and what is a man, like what is feminine and what is masculine. When, man, people should just be people. Like people can have different personalities, and there's all kinds of different personalities.
Yeah.
Let's see what the doctor says. Eventually, the doctor's going to
come here. That's true. That's true.
He's going to give us an education.
Sure, it sounds good.
I felt like I was whittling away his innocence. This year, my 12-year-old daughter had a science teacher ask the class about their preferred gender pronouns.
I don't want a teacher talking to my child about gender pronouns. It is not appropriate. It's crossing a line. It's unacceptable. This is a parent-child issue, not a teacher-child issue. I wanted my kids to...
Now, here's a weird thing, though, right? I feel like this kind of like solves a lot of these issues, you know what I mean? Is like, or not solves it, but changes everything when you say it this way. Is her kids probably are not trans, right? So or not even gay. They're not, you know what I mean? So then if they were, though, if they were struggling with that, now how would they deal with it? See what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to say, oh, yeah, what's that stupid pronoun shit? You know what I mean? I don't care about that. You know what I mean? It's like that with everything. You know, I don't care about the war, but then it's like if you get bombed, then you care. You know what I mean? It's always when something happens to you personally, then suddenly you care about it because it's affecting you. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, I feel that way too. When I watch these guys, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I understand where they're coming from in a way, but then I say that because I'm not trans, so I don't experience it. So of course I can easily just, you know, shoo it away and be like, oh, that's not real. You know what I mean? It doesn't exist. You know. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, it's different when it's happening personally or someone in your family or something like that.
Yeah, but here, I guess the extra part of it is, should this stuff be kind of, you know, talked about in school and kind of, you know, forcing people to do things a certain way? Then I'm starting to feel like, I don't know, you know, I'm not sure if I agree with that, you know, so.
Yeah, I don't think it should be. I think school should be a safe place for all the kids, and if there's kids that are experimenting or being different, kind of outside the norm, they should feel safe, and maybe they do want to talk to a teacher or something like that about things that are going on, but it really shouldn't be taught like to the whole class about like, okay, we're going to talk about your pronouns today. What are all your pronouns, kids?
Yeah, I agree. So let's see here. Let's see what else they got to say here.
To have nothing to do with it. I had to pull both of my kids out of this school district.
I've decided not to pull my children out of the school district, but I'm fighting for change. I've been attending school board meetings for about a year now. What's happening across the country is teachers could get fired if they use the wrong gender pronoun. That just seems wrong.
This is my mission in life, to protect my children, and however I need to do that, I will. What Matt and I and a group of us are doing is we're working to have the school board removed completely. A lot of people I know, a lot of parents I know.
Yeah, I feel like the guy, I mean, I get where he's coming from, but as far as like the wrongs in the world, this is like way down at the bottom of the totem pole, you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's starvation, war, you know, not having good paying jobs, like there's... But it's cool. That's what he's going around town, you know, going everywhere to, you know, get rid of that in schools. I understand, but everyone's got their fight. I agree
with you in a lot of ways, but again, it's from their perspective though. They're parents, and their most important thing is their kids. And so if they see their kids being mistreated or taught in a way that they don't agree with, that becomes automatically really, really important to them. But in the grand scheme of things, I agree with you.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Now are afraid to speak up, and I speak for them, and I'm not afraid.
Stacey, Matt, why do y'all have an issue with the schools telling children about pronouns and having them deal with them?
First of all, thank you for having me, and I wanted to say I honor you and your journey and where you are in life, and
pause it.
It has nothing to do
Can you
with
stop it there?
We're here.
Okay, Filthy Phil. Can I talk about body language in this episode a little bit?
Yeah, go for it. Of course.
Okay, she just did this. She did the signs. She said, "I honor you." Right? She's like, "I honor you." That person goes by he and they. Addison Rose Vincent goes by he and they, so we call him he and they. It's the person with the beard and the long hair.
Sure.
I think she's saying, "I honor you" to both of those people, those trans people or whatever.
Yeah.
she's submitting herself. She's saying, I apologize. I submit to you. I submit to you.
Yeah.
And she's literally putting her hands together and almost bowing. And she's saying, I honor you. She's saying, I'm submitting everything. I give you everything. I honor you. I honor you. I put you on this pedestal.
Yeah.
And to me, it seems like because she probably does respect people being different. As an adult, she's like, you're an adult, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But she has some fear in her that if she comes out with her ideas that might go against what Addison thinks, that she's going to get some sort of backlash.
Yeah,
and it could be aggressive backlash, not physically, but verbally aggressive. And she doesn't want to hurt this person's feeling. It's like, it's like almost like she's a little bit scared.
Yeah, no, I agree. She's got nothing to be afraid of. I mean, she should be able to speak her mind, So.
Well, it's true,
but she will get pushed back. Yeah, she can, or she could.
These people are aggressive, right?
You're right.
They're talking about like, if you don't use my pronoun, then that means something about you, and it's
right. It's true. No, you're absolutely right. I agree 100%. I mean, she should be able to express herself about the woke mob coming after her, you know what I mean?
Right,
so that's basically it, man. I agree.
Our kids. And so in school, I feel like this is a family issue. It's a parent-child issue. And it's a real issue with some kids. I think that the percentage is quite small for how many kids go through this real serious issue. And including and imposing this on the entire school or the entire class is where I have a problem.
There's no reason an 8-year-old should be taking an assignment that says, what is the gender spectrum? And I had to explain to my 8-year-old son that they're about the gender spectrum and no longer about boys and girls, about femininity, feminine clothes, that uniforms could be sexist.
Well, let's look at your 8-year-old's homework assignment. It says uniforms may be sexist. Some uniforms may strike students and parents as sexist. For example, if a uniform requires girls to wear skirts and pants are not allowed, some students and parents may object, leading to conflict with the school's administration. Not all girls want to wear skirts, and some may resent being told to wear traditionally feminine garments. Also, if a student is unsure of their place on the gender spectrum or is experimenting with different forms of gender presentation, school uniforms can present a real challenge. Now, what was the assignment?
The assignment was whether school uniforms, pro or con, should schools have uniforms? And I believe they had that assignment just so they could squeeze this in. This was an agenda and not appropriate for an 8-year-old.
Okay, so this is where I start to, they kind of lose me a little bit. In the beginning, I'm kind of on their side and I understand where they're coming from. And now when he talks about the actual assignment, I'm like, doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. You know what I mean? I
think this is for an 8-year-old kid, I feel like.
But, I mean, school uniforms, when I went to school, we didn't have uniforms, but maybe it's like a private school. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a private school. I don't know. But do you get what they're saying there? It's like they're just saying, okay, with the uniforms, some kids they don't want to wear, maybe a girl doesn't want to wear the skirt, which is ridiculous. Why do they have to wear? So if they're bringing that point up and they think that's a big deal, I'm sorry, it's now reversed, right? So that now they're imposing their will on others. They're telling people, oh, you should wear a certain thing a certain way. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like maybe I don't want to miscue their point of view though. Is that true, or I'm confused actually on this one?
Do you think say there is a uniform, right? There's skirts and there's pants basically.
Yeah.
It's uniform style. Do you think that the girls should be allowed to wear pants if they want? It's part of the uniform?
Oh man. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think people should be able to do what they want. Yeah.
Do you think girls should be allowed to wear pants?
Sure.
Well, why not? Of course, right?
Yeah, why not?
Okay,
but this guy's saying no. Why is this in the discussion? Huh?
I don't think he's saying no.
What? You want me to run it back? We can run it back and see. He was upset by the assignment. Wait a second. The dude was mad about the assignment. So
being given to his kid.
Yeah, but the assignment has to do with, it's like, was it like a debate or something, deciding whether or not. So you wait a second though. You agree with the assignment that the assignment makes sense, that it's understandable to talk about those things and to discuss them, right?
No, I don't think they need to be really discussed. I think if a guy wants to wear a skirt, or if a boy wants to wear a skirt, then I say fine, whatever. If a girl wants to wear pants, then I say fine, whatever. But I don't think the teacher needs to bring up, oh look, Johnny's wearing a skirt today. Are you feeling a little feminine today, Johnny? Like,
I see what you're saying.
I don't think it needs to be discussed. It should be, kids do things that are kind of out of the ordinary. They're expressing themselves in all kinds of ways.
So you're saying you agree with the dad then? You think that having the assignment where you're talking about actual reality things, where you're dealing with, like, we shouldn't look at like sociology. We shouldn't study about the way people think about things. Like, we're not even supposed to discuss those areas.
Not really with an 8-year-old. I
They're
think this
too
is
young.
too confusing.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think you might be right. Okay, let's see. Let's find out what this dude says.
Children. When I drop my child off at school, I don't expect him to be indoctrinated. Why are we doing this? Shouldn't the schools be focused on science and education and learning and reading and writing? And instead they're being taught, are you a boy? Are you a girl? And they're confusing the children.
We're going to take a break. What these parents feel
about... I mean, I think that's probably true. I can understand that. We shouldn't try to confuse kids, at such an early age. They're already confused, you know what I mean? Don't make it worse for them, so...
Gender neutral locker rooms.
Today is International Pronouns Day. It's a day designed to make personal pronouns more mainstream. Now we have a new pronoun, and it's they.
They. Merriam-Webster dictionary revealed it is expanding the definition of the word they to refer to a, quote, single person whose gender identity is non-binary. The annual event aims to make respecting and educating people about personal pronouns commonplace.
International Pronouns Day makes everyone more comfortable having the conversation about what pronouns are and how that is in relation to their identity.
We've been talking about gender pronouns with all of our guests today. Stacy and Matt are two concerned parents with one shared mission, and that's to recall the local school board. They say their children were too young to be introduced to gender pronouns in elementary school. They say if that conversation is going to be had, they'll have it. They don't want the teacher doing this. They don't want this taking place in school. That's something that they want to do with their children at the right time, if they have that curiosity. And you have an issue with gender-neutral restrooms.
Correct. This is a war on gender. Just like how Addison mentioned before with the pumpkin that in that picture said no gender or gender's over.
Gender's over, yeah.
Gender's over. Well, I believe in gender. And to deny that there's a difference, to say gender's over is radical stuff that should not be taught to third graders. That's dangerous. And if you extrapolate and continue on, then it leads to to gender-neutral bathrooms, which they're doing at the school district next to us. And they're doing that throughout the country, and gender-neutral bathrooms and locker rooms. And that's just not safe. That is a dangerous situation to keep.
I think he's making good points because, let's see, these are like 8-year-olds, right? But once they get to be, if this continues into the middle school or whatever, and then they're like 13, 14, then we have situations where, like, a boy's going into the girls' room. I'm a girl, you know what I mean? And then, someone gets raped or something, right? Or he wants to do a peeping Tom, whatever, So don't you think there could be some abuse with that?
Yeah, I think it's easier just to say, like, you have individual restrooms, or you have a trans restroom, and then you have a boys and a girls restroom.
True. Yeah. I do see this guy's perspective. So okay, let's see here.
Them combined in the same space.
Yeah. How do you feel about the gender-neutral bathrooms and locker rooms?
Yeah, well, I agree with my fellow Matt over here. Loudoun County is a famous case that the Daily Wire we helped uncover. There was a gender non-conforming boy in a dress who went into a girl's restroom and violently raped a young girl. After that happened, that's when the school district decided, oh, you know what? Now we're going to open up the restrooms and invite the boys in with the girls. Now, here's what happens. Because we hear a lot about, well, gender nonconforming people, transgender people, it makes them feel bad if they're not given access to the bathrooms they want. Well, okay, so they have their feelings. What about the feelings of the girls who are getting raped? There are many girls and many women who are speaking out and saying, we want privacy in our facility.
Okay, so there's a little bit of I don't know what you call that. It's sometimes you call about one incident or a couple of incidents that happen, and then you go, see, there we go. There's because people have been raped, then therefore everybody doesn't get access to this thing, which is that to allow the freedom to people to choose which bathroom that they feel more like. If they feel more like a girl or more like a guy and whatever, you know what I mean, then they want to go to the bathroom. So what he's doing is he's saying, well, you know, because someone's been raped, therefore. But then the question is, how often does that happen? Is it often enough to where it's a problem, or is it just a few cases? I don't really know the answer to that. But I think that is important. I think if it's because sometimes when it's just a few times it's happened, and then therefore you simply take the rights away from someone and say, well, you can't use the bathroom now because this has happened. And I would look at statistically and say, okay, you know, how many times has this happened? I mean, I guess one time is probably too much, you know what I mean, in a way, right? But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. You're saying that just because something happened that was negative doesn't mean that all sort of similar occurrences are going to be negative as well. Yeah.
But, I mean, it's interesting because I do get his point. I just don't know the statistics of it. I guess that's where I'm not quite sure. But I'm sure it happens.
Think about this. What if instead of having men's and women's restrooms, we just had anybody can go in their restrooms? Then do you think that would increase the rate of, assault?
Yeah, it might. That's a crazy thing, man. It might, you know.
It definitely would, yeah.
It definitely would, you know. There's a reason why we separate them, you know. I mean, men are just fucked up. I don't, you know. It's like
we don't want a man in the bathroom with us. And then what we hear from this side,
I did not say that we want open bathrooms where anyone can go in.
What we hear from this side is that, well, their feelings don't matter. We're not going. Who cares? You just have to deal with it, right? Because the transgender people, the gender nonconforming people, it's their feelings that take priority.
Instead of a boy.
You know, the one thing is, it is kind of a moot point with these 8-year-olds because they're too young to even. They don't even know. They just think, oh, I'm a boy or girl or whatever, and they don't even care. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
I think that shouldn't be overlooked. There's more important things to be learning when you're 8 or 10 or 11 years old than about the gender binary or the gender spectrum.
It's too young of an age, right?
Yeah. If a kid has a question, like if a kid says, I'm questioning my gender, they can talk to their teacher about it, like individually or something like that, or go to the counselor.
They go to the counselor.
They should have a safe place for that kind of thing, but
I totally agree.
The teacher shouldn't be standing up in front of the class teaching the whole class about this stuff. They should be teaching them math and science, and you know what? I would say if their math scores and their reading scores and their writing scores. And their science and their history lessons, if they're getting great grades on that, if the teachers are really teaching them the stuff that we all think the kids should be learning, then maybe it's time to start talking about these bigger topics like religion or the gender spectrum or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think we all know that in the public schools, these kids don't know shit about math or science, or a lot of them probably can't even read. So why are they even spending any time on this gender stuff?
Right. I totally agree. Yeah, you're right. I think this is a commercial, so let me just fast forward this.
Or a girl. Gender-neutral babies are known as Theybies.
Oh, it's not a commercial. Sorry.
Babies
is this the Theybies part?
Without known sex. They say the gender part comes later and is left up to the child.
We did not assign a sex at birth, which means when they were born, they had genitals and we know what they are. We just chose to acknowledge that those genitals don't indicate anything about gender.
Sparrow's parents decided to...
That is crazy, dude. Now this, I honestly, my mind is blown right now. Like it's like, can you imagine that you have a daughter, right, or a son, and you look and you see their genitals, so you know whether they're a male or female, and then you're like raising them, and you're like, okay, they can just be whatever they want to be, and like, it's kind of bizarre, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of world is this, you know?
It is. I gotta say, though, in a sense, man. I kind of want to defend this lady because...
Oh, good.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I think
she has a right to do it. It's her kid, right? I mean...
No, well, yeah. Yes,
there's that issue, right? You could raise your kid any way you want.
But I think she's being a bad parent.
Okay.
But I kind of think she has good intentions. But I think she doesn't understand her intentions. I think she... wants to raise her kid in a neutral way, right?
Yeah.
So instead she's trying to raise a neutral kid, right? A genderless kid. But I think she would be better off if she just raised that kid and said, "Oh yeah, this is a girl, but we take her to the toy store and she looks at trucks, and so we buy her a truck because she wants to play with a truck, or she sees a G.I. Joe and we buy her a G.I. Joe." So we raise her in a neutral way, in the sense of like, we don't require her to be anything or act any way or read certain things or wear certain things because of what her genitals are or whatever.
So,
but not to raise that kid and say, "Oh, you're a they, you're not a he or a she." Like, I think that's wrong.
I think you're right. I do have a problem though. This idea. I mean, I feel like a lot of this is because there's a pushback against the kind of conservative roles that men and women had back in the day, and they still have, you know, where it's, you know, the woman is supposed to be in the kitchen and, you know, cooking or whatever and make babies, you know, and then they're supposed to look pretty, and then, you know, men are supposed to go out and lift heavy stuff, you know, and do certain things, and so, like, it's good to break out of that. Because there are some women who just don't want to do that shit. They want to become engineers. They want to become business people. Like I like that idea, but that's got nothing to do with pronouns or anything of that stuff. It's just kind of allowing people to explore their own things. So
yeah. So. And there's facts. The fact is, you have a boy or you have a girl child.
Yeah, and it's okay. You know,
that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see what this lady's all about.
You don't have a Theyby, though. Like, you're just making
Theybies. That's messed up.
Raise their baby gender neutral, meaning Sparrow will decide gender when older. Even Sparrow's birth certificate says sex unknown.
Oh my God, unknown.
The term the media's used for this is not a baby, but a theyby.
That is fucked up. Unknown, man. From parts unknown.
Wait, I got a question.
Yeah.
He said not a baby, it's a theyby. Why can't it be a baby?
It's just a
baby is not gender specific. It's a baby. It's still
just
a baby. It's still a baby.
It's a baby. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's see here. Let's see.
Arlo, how old is the baby now?
Oh, Sparrow's actually going to be 4 in February.
Has Sparrow decided as...
Oh, a gender?
Yes.
Oh, that's a great question. Sparrow is in a point of learning and exploration with a lot of things, including gender. Language with children at 4 is very, they're figuring it out, and so...
You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. You know what? Her baby at 4, you know what's going on? She's like, like burping and farting and slobbers, you know what I mean? Like, she's not doing anything. Barely there's anything going on at 4 years old, right?
I like how Arlo, this chick, she talks about her Theyby. It sounds like she's raising like a robot or a Tamagotchi or something. It's like Sparrow will decide its gender when it's older. Sparrow is 4 years old. So Sparrow's 4 years old. Why can't Sparrow be 21? Why are you defining Sparrow's age?
Right. Hey, I just realized we did a robots episode. It's on the Filthy Truth Exposed, and I was just thinking, man, that's like the next level is like robots that if you don't use the correct pronouns of the robot, you're gonna be, electrified. You know what I mean? All right, let's see what this lady's all about here. Let's see here, deal.
Currently, Sparrow uses he for everyone. No, it doesn't matter what their pronouns are, and we mentioned it. They just call everyone he, they don't conjugate it correctly. They don't use him or his or anything. Just he for everything. So we joke that he is Sparrow's preferred pronoun because that's what they use for everyone. As far as for themselves, though, they're not coming consistently saying, "I would like, I want to be a boy or a girl," or "I feel like I'm non-binary." We don't have heavy, in-depth, like overt communications. It's not like every morning I wake them up and say, "All right, what's your gender today?" hoping they'll finally give me an answer. So it doesn't come up like that.
Okay, you decided this was important to leave unspecified, undetermined. Why?
Because of the fact that gender is so social, and it is such a social construct. Now, we say we shouldn't interact with one another differently because of our genders. Like, everyone deserves the same respect and treatment. But it has been scientifically proven that children are interacted with very differently based on whether they are assumed to be a boy or a girl. Girl children are held more, boy children are given, mechanical toys more often, all of these kind of examples and anecdotes. And I felt it was important for Sparrow to get the chance to figure themselves out without all of that pressure, intervention, and programming.
And if somebody asks you,
Okay, so it's weird here because I think it's that weird thing where I kind of agree with her in one way. Like, part of what she's saying I think is true, but then her conclusion is messed up, right? So I think the fact of the matter is, in a society, boys are treated differently than girls. I can't explain it, but it's true. I think that's just a fact. Like, everyone's treated differently, and it is based on not just sex, but also, how someone looks and, what their race is. I mean, there's lots of issues that make somebody treat you differently or someone differently, But I just call that reality. Like, that's just culture, And so, what do you want? Like, you want culture to change because you're not happy with it? Like, it's the way it is. Like, I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, I just think it's odd.
This Terminator lady, like, she's looking for some utopia or some shit. She's like, she's out of it. She's out of it.
She's out of it. I mean, maybe there's a place out there for her,
She's wrecking her kid. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I think you're right. The kid's going to be confused, so.
Yeah.
You have a child, you say yes. And if they say, what do you have? What do you say?
When people ask, is a child a boy or a girl, oftentimes what they're trying to do is connect to you. And they're trying to connect to the child. So what I do is I give them some other bit of information about my child. Is your child a boy or a girl? They're 3.5. Is your child a boy or a girl? Well, actually, they just started preschool. I give something intimate and fun and special so that they know something about this child that is more relevant than what's in their pants.
So you think it would be toxic to label the child one way or the other?
Potentially, yes.
This lady's nuts. I'm sorry,
she's
but
nuts. She's nuts.
She's just nuts. I'm not gonna sprinkle the tree. I'm not gonna, be nice anymore. Like, it's just, I get her fears. Like, I understand I guess she wants her. Is it her daughter? We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know the sex, so we can't even. It's just Yeah. But, a good way to. Can I say something weird though? The good way to push back at this argument is to say, "Oh, well, since you're not referring it to as a, he or she, then it's a it. It's a non-entity. It's an animal. It's a nothing, right? So that's what you do is you say you're actually treating your child like not a real person. Like, why is it you're protecting it so much from something that's everyone else has to go through? Why are you shielding your child from something that's just called reality? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing bad is going to happen to your child. Your child's going to go and do whatever. And you know what? If your child gets beat up one day, it's because probably that child was like, acting nutty. You know what I mean? Doing something stupid or whatever. Or sometimes
this kid's going to get beat up.
Yeah, I mean, or sometimes they get beat up and they shouldn't have been beat up. Obviously I'm not for kids getting beat up, but I'm just saying this is kind of reality. You know what I mean? So
yeah, she thinks it's so bad if she tells people that she has a boy or a girl. When people ask her, is that a boy or a girl? And she says, oh, it's 3 or whatever. Yeah. It's like people are just asking if you have a boy or a girl. They don't care. It's not like, we're going to like this kid more or less if it's a boy or a girl. It's just something that people are just inquiring about your child. Like, it's not the worst. It's not a bad thing. She says, oh, it's not important what's in between the kid's legs. But that's not what they're asking. Yeah. They're just asking if it's a boy or a girl. She takes it to this other level that seems inappropriate or unimportant or creepy. And it's not that. No. Yeah, that was a great episode, I think, of The Filthy Truth Exposed. I think people should tune in, subscribe to our channel, and hit the like button down there. But subscribe to our channel because we're going to do more of this stuff, more Dr. Phil, and we got some other cool episodes coming up. We just did one about the back rooms. If you want to see something weird, check out the back rooms episode. And you can check us out on Spotify and Rumble, too, if you want to check us out on some other platforms. And I think since we're not going to listen to Dr. Phil here and wrap up, I think, Filthy Phil, why don't you do your Dr. Phil impersonation and take us out of this episode of The Filthy Truth.
Okay, so let's see if I can do a Dr. Phil. So, hey everyone, today we're going to talk about pronouns. Well, I heard that I speak really slowly because, well, that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know, man. The guy just, it's fun watching him though. You know what I mean? He's great. He's great. It's all good, So I don't want to make fun of the guy. He's older, right? So I mean,
you just did.
I just made fun of him, but it's okay. So, like and subscribe, and just one last word about this whole Theybies and leave children alone. Let them grow up and do their thing. You don't need to be worried about your kids all the time. There's certain things, you need to be worried about, right? But make sure they get to school on time and cross the road correctly and all that stuff, and don't talk to strangers. But other than that, as far as like pronouns, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Your son's a boy, just raise him like a boy until one day he'll say, you know what? I feel more like a girl today. You know what I mean? And then once that happens, then you can deal with that, right? Just chill. We as a society, man, we just need to relax and kick back, man. I'm sick of this stuff. So, that's my take, but hey, it's just my opinion. So, with that, see you in the next time, whatever. Peace out.